Tonight, questions swirling over the fate of Sergey Lavrov, Russia's longtime foreign minister, amid growing speculation by Kremlin watchers that Vladimir Putin may have sidelined the veteran diplomat, following the recent collapse of negotiations over another summit between the Russian leader and President Trump. There was no sign of Lavrov at the Kremlin this week, as Putin announced he was considering a resumption of nuclear weapons testing. The 75-year-old, who's been in his job since 2004, would normally be expected at his president's side for a major national security announcement. The Kremlin spokesman, Dmitry Peskov, tonight denying reports that Lavrov had fallen out of favor, saying, "Nothing about these reports is true. Of course, Lavrov continues to work as the foreign minister." The Russian and U.S. leaders met in Alaska in August to discuss a potential end to the war in Ukraine.
So there's no deal until there's a deal.
Lavrov landing on U.S. soil wearing a sweatshirt with the initials of the old Soviet Union, CCCP. But when that summit ended without a breakthrough, the White House raised the possibility of another meeting, this time in the Hungarian capital of Budapest. The president today meeting with Hungary's prime minister, saying it was still on the table.
President Trump, sir, any chance you'll meet with Putin in Budapest at some point?
But plans for the summit previously fell apart after what a senior administration official said was a tense phone call between Lavrov and U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio in late October. The official said Lavrov became exercised and reiterated Russia's refusal to agree to a ceasefire ahead of peace negotiations. President Trump pulling the plug on the summit soon after.
I don't want to have a wasted meeting. I don't want to have a waste of time.
Lavrov, sometimes seen as the gray man of Russian diplomacy, has had a career that's been long, colorful, and controversial. In 2017, early in his first term, President Trump hosted Lavrov in the Oval Office.
Russia's top diplomat visiting Washington, only hours after President Trump fires the FBI director. Does the Comey firing cast a shadow over your talks, gentlemen?
Was he fired? You're kidding. You're kidding.
And briefed him on classified intelligence about ISIS shared with the U.S. by Israel. The disclosure sparked a political firestorm.
A smirking Vladimir Putin dismissing the White House meeting as political schizophrenia, even playfully chastising his foreign minister for not sharing the secrets he learned.
But the president defended his decision. During the Cold War, the U.S. studied pictures of Soviet leaders' meetings, trying to work out who had been purged and who was gaining power. The practice, known as Kremlinology, tonight may be, once again, back in fashion.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.